I gave him a call one day and I said, I heard that you are going to punk me, and I just don't think that's a good idea.
First of all, surprised? Haven't heard from him?
I'm not entirely surprised. I think there's a whole slew of people that P. Diddy had interactions with or worked with over the years that are hesitant to come forward. I think there's lots of reasons for that. I think one of the main reasons is, what will this sort of association do for my public image?
Diddy party stories, they're our favorite genre of anecdote, if you have one, yeah.
Wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, I can't tell that one either.
Yeah. That's a printer. Give a shout out.
Even Ashton Kutcher got caught up in some Diddy mess in the most insane way possible, because the feds just released evidence of him not only taking part in these freak-offs but allegedly also helping Diddy to silence his victims. It turns out that Ashton has been keeping some wild secrets under wraps, and the truth is starting to spill out. Everybody knows that he's been tied with Diddy, who just got arrested for some very shady activities. Now folks are buzzing that Ashton might have been using his anti-trafficking organization to help Diddy with his shady business. And hold up, his wife Mila Kunis is supposedly in on it too. With all these explosive claims and new witnesses coming forward, it's looking like Ashton's not the innocent guy that he's been portraying. Well, Diddy's arrest and upcoming trial have sent social media into a frenzy, with everyone weighing in on the drama, but amidst all the noise, one person's silence is screaming Ashton Kutcher. Now Ashton and Diddy go way back. They first crossed paths in the early 2000s when Ashton was busy with his MTV show Punk'd. He had this idea to pull a prank on Diddy while he was scouting for the next big pop group on making the band, but Diddy wasn't having it, and he hit up Ashton and told him to scrap the plan, which he did. Luckily, the little video and convo ended up sparking a friendship between the two.
I gave him a call one day and I said, I heard that you are going to punk me, and I just don't think that's a good idea. I
don't think that's the way you said it. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well, then you tell the story.
I'm pretty sure that's not the way you said it. I don't think that's a good idea. Is that what you said?
Now fast forward a few years, and these two were living it up together, partying, running, and hitting the shops. It was clear that Diddy had a lot of love for Ashton. Then when Ashton made the list of Time magazine's 100 most influential people in the world, Diddy was quick to sing his praises, saying Kutcher is a sounding board for me. Like me, he's a mogul, a new media mogul. But we are yin and yang. I'm in your face, but he is understated, cool, suave. But given their long history, Ashton's silence about Diddy's arrest is raising a lot of eyebrows. Some legal experts think it's a smart move for him and other celebrities, given the severity of the situation.
First of all, surprised? Haven't heard from him?
I'm not entirely surprised. I think there's a whole slew of people that P. Diddy had interactions with or worked with over the years that are hesitant to come forward. I think there's lots of reasons for that. I think one of the main reasons is, what will this sort of association do for my public image? A lot of celebrities, I think, really rely heavily on their public image. And with that comes, financial ramifications, possible loss of opportunities, brands that might not want to work with you if they come forward and, possibly defend him or maybe try to, explain some of his actions. So I think there's that. But then I also think there's probably a hesitancy for a lot of people to be called, even as witnesses, even if they didn't partake in any of these activities, to provide information. I think a lot of people are hesitant to come forward with that because that comes with a lot of other forms of exposure and, responsibility.
But the reality is, did Ashton know what was going down with Diddy? It sure seems like he did. In an old interview that has surfaced, where Ashton was asked about Diddy's legendary parties, it's been making its rounds online. Back in 2019, Sean Evans had Ashton on Hot Ones and tried to pry some info out about Diddy's exclusive events, but Ashton wasn't having it. He quickly changed the subject instead of spilling any kind of tea.
Diddy party stories, they're our favorite genre of anecdote, if you have one, yeah.
Wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, I can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through them. There was one moment, so it's not really a party story, but our relationship was really bizarre. So it started over Punk'd, because he was like, yo,
don't punk
you
me.
can't punk me. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's on the table. He's like, not me, I'm off the table. And so that started our conversation. We became fast friends. And we used to just hang out, watch football together.
Now fans are buzzing with questions like, was Ashton just playing coy about the skeletons in Diddy's closet? Most people think so. But what's even wilder is that some folks are calling for the authorities to investigate Ashton's anti-trafficking organization. I mean, how can he claim to be a champion for victims when he's close friends with someone who is accused of the exact same heinous crimes? The hypocrisy is real, and people are demanding answers. Well, that said, the rumors about Ashton being tangled up in Diddy's mess aren't just wild speculation. The indictment actually mentioned Diddy bringing in some accomplices for his shady dealings. According to the documents, Combs and other members of the Associates of Combs Enterprises wielded the power and prestige of Combs' role at the Combs business to intimidate, threaten, and lure female victims into Combs' orbit, often under the pretense of a romantic relationship. Combs then used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sexual acts with male sex workers that Combs referred to as, among other things, freak-offs. In arranging these freak-offs, Combs, with the assistance of members and associates of the Combs enterprise, transported and caused to be transported commercial sex workers across state lines and internationally. So the fact that Ashton helped organize one of Diddy's famous white parties in Beverly Hills back on July 4, 2009, is now raising all kinds of red flags about his possible involvement in Diddy's shady dealings. People are starting to wonder if Ashton's role in the Combs empire runs deeper than just party planning. But more importantly, Ashton doesn't exactly have a squeaky clean image himself. In fact, he seems like just the guy for Diddy. Back in 2017, Ashton and his wife Mila Kunis found themselves in hot water after they wrote character letters in support of their That 70s Show co-star Danny Masterson, who was accused of sexually assaulting 2 women in 2003. Even though Masterson eventually got a 30-year prison sentence for his crimes, fans were quick to slam Ashton and Mila for standing by someone with such serious allegations. Their support did not go unnoticed, and it definitely left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. Kutcher wrote, "Masterson has been nothing but a positive influence on him throughout his life. Over our 25-year relationship, I don't ever recall him lying to me. He's taught me about being direct and confronting issues in life and relationships head-on, resolving them, and moving forward. Danny is a person that is consistently there for you when you need him. While I'm aware that the judgment has been cast as guilty on 2 accounts of rape by force and the victims have a great desire for justice, I hope that my testament to his character is taken into consideration in sentencing." Ashton also wrote, "I can honestly say that no matter where we are or who we are with, I never saw my friend be anything other than the guy I have described." Meanwhile, Mila described Masterson as an amazing friend, confidant, and above all, an outstanding older brother figure to me. She also wrote, "His caring nature and ability to offer guidance have been instrumental in my growth, both personally and professionally." Unfortunately, though, for Ashton and Mila, those letters became public, and fans were outraged that they chose to support someone who was accused of such heinous crimes. The backlash was intense, to say the least, and the couple had no choice but to post an apology video on Instagram. In the video, they tried to explain that their statements weren't meant to downplay the victim's trauma, but by then, the damage had already been done.
We are aware of the pain that has been caused by the character letters that we wrote on behalf of Danny Masterson.
We support victims. We have done this historically through our work and will continue to do so in the future.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years so that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read and not to undermine the testimony of the victims or re-traumatize them in any way. We would never want to do that. And we're sorry if that has taken place.
But unfortunately for Ashton and Mila, fans weren't ready to let them off the hook. In the end, Ashton had to step down as chairman of the board for Thorn, his anti-trafficking organization. He founded Thorn back in 2009 with his then-wife, Demi Moore, who, by the way, faced her own controversy after being caught locking lips with a minor. Anyways, after their divorce, Mila got involved with the organization too, but she had to step down as an observer on the board. But here's where things get darker. There's more to Ashton's past than just supporting the wrong people. He's also been tied to the tragic death of his girlfriend. On February 21, 2001, Ashton had a date with 22-year-old Ashley Ellerin. However, instead of arriving at Ashley's place at the agreed time, Ashton showed up 2 hours late. He noticed her red BMW convertible parked with the lights on, so he figured she was home. He even peeked through the window and saw what he thought were red stains on the carpet. Little did he know those were blood stains. Unaware that Ashley was lying lifeless inside, Ashton assumed she was ignoring him because he had lost track of time watching the Grammy Awards with a friend. In reality, Ashley had been brutally stabbed 47 times. When Ashton heard the devastating news the next day, he immediately went to the police, completely shaken. He later testified in court, saying, "I went to her door, my fingerprints were on the door, and I was freaking out." But that being said, Ashton was never convicted of Ashley's murder. It turned out that Michael Gargiulo, known as the Hollywood Ripper, was the real culprit. But here's where things get seriously creepy. One of Danny Masterson's accusers, Chrissy Bixler, dropped a bombshell on Instagram, claiming that she knew some dark secrets about that night. In her Instagram story, she wrote, "Dear Ashton, I know the secrets your role model keeps for you, ones that would end you. Did you forget I was there? You were on speakerphone that night when you called Danny on February 21st, 2001? I heard everything. I heard the plan. In my opinion, you're just as sick as your mentor." Her post sent shockwaves through fans, implying there might be more to Ashton's connection to that tragic night than anyone realized. She expanded on her statement in an Instagram comment, writing, "Yes, he was in his car for over an hour outside of Ashley's house, speaking with his manager about what to do to protect Ashton's career and reputation. He then called Danny. I heard the entire conversation. Law enforcement is aware that what I'm saying is true." And Chrissy wasn't the only one throwing accusations Ashton's way. Her friend, Aaron Smith Levin, also posted a YouTube video spilling more details about what allegedly went down behind the scenes. According to Aaron, Ashton lied about what really happened that night to save himself, and if he had come clean, authorities might have caught the Hollywood Ripper sooner, potentially preventing him from taking more lives. It's a chilling thought, and Aaron's claims have only added more fuel to the fire surrounding Ashton's involvement in that tragic situation.
Chrissy has a friend named Aaron Smith Levin, posted a video to YouTube 7 months ago talking about what really happened that night. According to him, Aaron Smith alleges that Ashton Kutcher walked into the house that night, saw Ashley Ellerin dead on the floor, blood everywhere, walked out, sat in his car for an hour, freaked out, calling his team on what to do. His team told him not to call the police so that his name wouldn't be tied to the murder. Aaron said at the time Ashton Kutcher had been on that 70s show for a few years, so they were afraid this could tarnish his name. After speaking to his team, he alleges that Ashton Kutcher calls Danny Masterson, which is the same thing as what Chrissy says. And on top of that, Aaron alleged that Ashton's team told him to go to the party that he was supposed to take Ashley to. He also said that it would have been impossible for Ashton Kutcher to see red wine stains on the carpet from the window. Not only would it have been too dark in the house, but you had to go in to see where the blood was. And he said that Ashton Kutcher not only lied, but police knew he lied. And had he not lied, it could have stopped Michael from killing again because he would have been caught and arrested.
Assuming that's true, the real question is why the LAPD would cover for Ashton. Well, according to some theories, it's because he's allegedly part of a certain cult, one I can't name here because of YouTube guidelines, but here's a hint: it starts with an S. Remember how Ashton and Mila supported Danny Masterson? Well, Danny was a part of that same cult, allegedly, and the women he violated were former members. A lot of folks online believe Danny may have been tasked with recruiting Ashton and Mila into the group. But did Ashton take Danny up on that offer? Well, Ashton and Danny were very tight. Not only did they work together on that 70s show, but they also co-invested in a restaurant. Plus, Ashton performed at the cult's annual Christmas Stories event in 2003 and 2004, which benefited the Hollywood Police Activities League. It's enough to make people wonder if Ashton was more involved than he's letting on. And as for the case of Ashley's passing, well, some fans think it was members of the cult who swooped in to save Ashton. One Redditor wrote, "The LAPD supposedly has deep connections with cult officials and has been accused of covering up crimes for the organization in the past. I wouldn't be shocked at all if Ashton made a call to Danny that night and was blackmailed into writing the letter." That said, Ashton's got way more disturbing skeletons in his closet, like the fact that he made a bet to French kiss Mila, who was 14 years old at the time. FYI, Ashton's older than her by 5 years.
The show, I was like 19, right?
Right.
And they're like, okay, you guys are going to be making out in this scene. And I'm like thinking like, wait, this is like slightly illegal,
that's
right?
probably your first kiss ever, right?
It was my first kiss. What's some bet you made with Danny about our first kiss?
No, it wasn't the first kiss. It was like a second or third kiss.
It was the first. It was like the first week.
No, it was not the first week.
Whatever. Let me tell you what happened.
No, let me tell you what happened.
No. Okay, so I've never kissed a guy. So I was so. I mean, you know, Ash was attractive, and I was a 14-year-old little girl, and I was extremely scared for my life.
Sure.
And he was very nice about it. He was like, "Oh, don't worry." So I was like, "Okay." Then Danny goes and goes, "Dude, I'll give you $10 if you French kiss her." What would you stick your tongue in my mouth?
Since Danny's arrest, Ashton's been under the microscope, and it looks like his marriage might be on shaky ground. Speculation started to swirl when the couple was spotted out separately with their kids in Los Angeles on September 20th, 2024, just days after Danny's arrest. Well, fans quickly jumped to conclusions, thinking divorce might be on the horizon. But Ashton, digging his own grave, might be considering a split to protect himself and the kids. However, sources close to the couple are insisting that these allegations are totally baseless. One insider claimed that the allegations are false, and another source said, Ashton has no involvement in any of this. He doesn't belong in this conversation about Danny. Ashton has only seen Danny at a handful of social and business events, all of which have been documented by the media. So, who knows what's really going on behind closed doors? For now, it doesn't look like Ashton plans to address Danny's recent legal trouble anytime soon. He seems determined to steer clear of another Danny Masterson situation for himself. However, there's a chance Ashton might have already talked to the government. Back in April 2024, he was spotted in Los Angeles right after the feds raided Danny's house, and many fans speculated he was in town to cooperate with authorities. One source even mentioned he is expecting a subpoena since they've been good friends for 20 years. With everything happening, it's a tense situation, and only time will tell what Ashton will decide to do next. But FYI, according to the prosecutor's bail letter to the court, authorities have been in touch with a long list of witnesses. To date, the government has conducted interviews with over 50 victims and witnesses, many of whom saw or experienced the defendant's mistreatment. Many of these witnesses corroborate one another, and their accounts are similarly consistent with other types of evidence discussed below. The government only expects that number to continue to grow, given that the investigation, which is now public, is ongoing. But at the end of the day, Danny's case has the potential to bring down everybody in Hollywood. Everybody knows that he surrounded himself with people who could help him run his enterprise. When Ashton's anti-trafficking organization doesn't seem like it was established to help victims anymore, the fans have been all over it. They've been commenting, maybe it's time we look into Ashton Kutcher's human trafficking and child trafficking work, considering he's best buds with people like Danny Masterson. Ashton Kutcher, always being on the wrong side of history. Ashton Kutcher being at the scene of several crimes, to be honest. Well, this is wild. What do you think about the feds? Are they going to arrest Ashton over this, or do you think that he's going to blind snitch and get a plea deal? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and then check out this next video.